Howdy there, people. Last night I watched Real Steel, and I enjoyed it. I mostly enjoyed it. I'm going to go right down the middle, give it a 5. It basically just kind of unraveled for me. I really enjoyed the first half, and then not so much the second half. And I mean, really, even you can break it down from that. I really enjoyed the first 30 minutes, and then the second 30 minutes was less than, and less than, and less than. It just became this pile of cliches and stereotypes, and the last half hour didn't feel like there was any dialogue at all. Just soaring music and facial expressions, basically. It was just about two cartoons fighting. Okay, the movie's about a deadbeat robot fighter, also deadbeat dad. Goes around, is fighting robots, owes money to everybody, dangerous people. He's actually fighting robots with, like, bowls at the beginning, which was intriguing to me. But in any time the film was, like, focused on doing something different, being in this future world, doing anything science fiction-y, I enjoyed it. But and as the film progresses, it becomes less and less about that. Okay, so this deadbeat dad boxer guy gets a chance to take custody of his kid and get a lot of money in the process, and that's why he does it, for the money, and the convenience of the future foster parents or adopted parents. So he takes his kid, his blood, who he hasn't ever seen. I mean, maybe saw at birth. I'm not sure, but hasn't seen the kid all of his life. Now they are thrust in together in the, like, cabin of a semi-truck that he drives. And they go around, I guess, the country for a few months fighting robots. And while doing that, they bond as father and son, and all is right with the world. As they, I don't know, they discover an older robot. They can't seem to win ever. They keep destroying these robots, and they find an older, I guess, less sophisticated robot that has a lot of heart, and, well, becomes, the wild card in the hunt for the championship. I mean, I guess it's primarily about the father-son relationship that this robot brings them together. I guess, in a way, the robot saves the kid's life. It was by far the most confusing scene for me, because they're, like, in this dangerous, guarded place where they have to time their movements, and they find this robot after an accident, and so then the dad, he still has yet to love his son, so he leaves him there in the dangerous place with this enormous hunk of steel, and just leaves him there, and somehow the kid gets out of this incredibly dangerous place where they have to time their movements, and does so with this giant robot in tow. If things just needed to happen in the film to progress the story, then they just happened. So whatever. The film stars, right there on the box, Hugh Jackman, along with a lot of cartoon robots. Let's see, who else? Dakota Goyo is the son, is the boy. He did a good job. I mean, I always appreciate when kids are, you know, better than average, just because, I don't know, I'm just impressed that a kid can do that. He's fine here. I mean, he's enjoyable. He does a good job at being a kid, you know. Evangeline Lilly from Lost is also in the film. She had the most thankless role. She had the role that I laughed at the second most. She's, I mean, the last half of the film relegated to being a prop, basically. As most of the film becomes at the end. Everyone is just a prop, so the robots can fight. What's her name? I didn't want to forget her name. Well, it's not on there. It also stars Anthony Mackie and Kevin Durand. I can't really remember who those people are. Hope Wallace, that's what I wanted to remember. Hope Wallace is in it. She was fine. She's not in it much. The special effects are really good. That's, I mean, definitely the highlight. The robots are cool, you know, well designed. Their fights are pretty awesome. So it's at times very thrilling, you know. The action is well captured, and definitely the driving force behind the movie. Okay. It's based on a short story. I did not know that. Short story by Richard Matheson. Story by Dan Gilroy and Jeremy Levin. And screenplay by John Gattens. I'm not familiar with any of those names. Directed by Sean Levy. I have heard the name Sean Levy before. I can't remember what he's done. But I know he's done some stuff before. I think mostly feel-good stuff. The movie is kind of, you know, schmaltzy, very hallmarky in at points, cheesy. I laughed a lot watching this movie, and it was, you know, a cynical laugh. There's lots of cheese here, you know, lots of cheese. What I mainly laughed at was the champion robot, the bad guy, if you will. If a robot can be a bad guy, is Zeus, this like undefeatable robot. So he's the champion. And obviously our hero robot, Adam, is going to end up in a fight with him someday. Zeus is controlled and managed by two, I mean, cartoons. They aren't even like written out. It's just like stereotypical, stereotypical characters. You've got one who's like the manager, and she's like this rich European model who is like, she only cares about herself, and again, she's this heartless, machine-like manager of Zeus. And then you have Zeus's designer and creator, a Japanese dude like Max Takahashi, something like that. And he's like this reclusive genius who is a super duper asshole for some reason. I don't really picture reclusive geniuses being mean to everybody, but whatever. They are so, all they do is make faces. They make cliched, statements. They never have like more than one or two emotions, and it's just awful. Whenever I saw them, whenever the camera cuts to them, it's hilarious because it's so bad. I mean, it's just pointless. It's pointless. I mean, really, it just, made me erupt with laughter every damn time. There's just so poorly written, and again, just there as props, that it just becomes funny. It just becomes funny. I mean, really, all that laughter I'm doing, all the laughing happens in like the last 45 minutes, when, again, the film, it just unravels for me. It unravels. I mean, I guess at times it made me feel happy or whatever, but still I was like, should a father have to spend 3 months on the road with his son to learn to love him, and that he should be a good person? Does he have to learn it that way? Whatever. Again, it was entertaining at some points. I thought the special effects were good. The robot fights were pretty cool. Whenever it like had tinges of science fiction, when it's like watching Adam, think in a way. I always enjoyed that, and I enjoyed the touches of this future world. They never really discuss what year it is. Apparently Robot Boxing came out in like 2014. That kind of seems like a stretch. I wish they would have moved it back a little bit. And at least maybe 2020. Something slightly more realistic. Yeah, whenever you're given a glimpse into the future world, oh gosh, there's so many characters who are in the movie just for it to be like an appropriate running time. I mean, you could seriously have clipped out a lot of subplots in here and probably been left with an hour-and-a-half movie, and probably left with a better movie, because you meet lots of characters like people who owe people who owe him money. Oh, that's one thing. It seemed like the film progressed, the story progressed, solely due to stupidity, or just like a mistake. And I'm trying to think of an example. It was just like, I started to notice, like, after the first half hour, it was just like, these people just keep on making dumb mistakes, and that's the only thing that, carries the story along. It's like they would have to, be doing something that you wouldn't think any normal person in any normal circumstance would do. It just seems like it would go against nature, go against, your deepest instincts. But it's just stupidity. Like, the story is progressed by stupidity. And nonsensical mistakes. Like, there's one character who just, I have no idea why he's there, or why he would show up when he knew that, he would cause, get in trouble, possibly die or something. Characters like come and go, and they're just meant to do these, again, fill out the spaces, fill out the spaces. So, I mean, whatever. I didn't totally enjoy it, but I had an okay time. Again, I'm giving it a 5. 5, I believe, is fair for this. So, whatever. I think I've said my piece. It was mildly enjoyable. I mean, again, I will say this. It's rated PG. I mean, it's for kids. It's a kids' movie, so I feel like a little bit of an asshole even talking about it. But a kid's going to eat this up any day. A kid's going to love this movie. So if you're 33 years old and jaded, you may not get so much out of it. But I'm sure if you're 10 years old, this is the shit. And that's why I felt like it was at times so obvious, is because I pictured a kid, watching this movie, and they're going to know exactly what every character is feeling all the time, because it's all they have to do. It's like, express this certain emotion with all of your might while this soaring music is playing. And so a kid is going to immediately understand, what the characters are thinking and feeling, without any difficulty whatsoever. So, as a kid's movie, it's just fine. It's for kids, It's for kids. So I won't say, if you're an adult, I don't think it's much for you, unless you're like an aficionado of special effects or a robot lover. But definitely a kid's flick, you know. So if you got kids, check it out. Other than that, I think you can, you know, let it slide. So that's Real Steel. It's a 5. You know, 5 is fair. Thank you.